Fashion forward now, and this week we're talking the fashion resale market. Joining us now, as always on Fridays, is stylist and author Heather Newberger. Hey, Heather.
It's good to see you again.
Nice to see you too. All right, I know we've discussed online resale before and how it's a boon to sustainable shopping, but the big question, is it profitable? I've been wondering this because I'm very into this. Is it actually profitable, Heather?
So the question of if it's profitable is really interesting because I think all of us in our brains sort of imagine that, oh, okay, so if I'm giving someone my old clothes, obviously it must be making money if they're taking percentages of that to resell those clothes. Actually, unfortunately, we just have recently found out that a lot of these resale platforms, even though they've been adapted by more people more recently, specifically in 2021, they're actually not profitable yet. So when we're talking about ThredUp, The RealReal, and Poshmark specifically, The RealReal had a loss of $236 million in 2021, which is a bigger gap from 2020, which was at 176, where we're looking at ThredUp with a net loss of 63.2, at least that's better, million. But that is also 25.1% of its revenues that have been lost.
So when do you think that these companies will become profitable for investors?
Well, it's interesting when we're talking about investors, right? Because investors are putting money into a company, sort of hoping that they're going to see a great investment come out of it. And I'll be honest, I have stock in a lot of these companies because I do see a ton of value in them. That being said, what we're looking at right now is that The RealReal is saying that they're really not going to be profitable until 2024, whereas something like ThredUp, they're really not quite sure. They're actually sort of doing a, if we put it out there, they will come strategy and haven't necessarily announced anything to anyone.
I know I've seen the targeted, they're kind of targeting people through other companies to try to get them to resell their clothes. And for so many of us, our clothes are so important to us, right? And we think they have value, but that doesn't necessarily translate, I guess. So are there any steps that these companies are taking or can take to become profitable?
They're certainly all coming at it from different approaches. We're looking at a brand like Poshmark. What they're doing is they're saying, hey, big box retailers or more independent brands, why don't you sell through our platform? Then we have brands like ThredUp, just like what you're talking about before. They're actually working with different brands to bring in different stores. They're actually like in Madewell and Walmart, in different spaces where they're trying to kind of engage with those different companies just to kind of, spread awareness, but also to spread the idea of like, you can turn in your old items. And that is a great thing about ThredUp specifically is that, there are items that they will take, but you'll also able to donate things through that process as well. And then we're looking at something like The RealReal, which really is like pushing towards profitability. And they're actually doing something interesting too, which is they're putting their money into brick and mortar stores. So I actually just found out yesterday from a friend of mine, I live in New York City and so does she. And she was telling me that if I purchase something from The RealReal, I can actually return it in store at a local shop in Cobble Hill. And that was so interesting to me because I've never thought of a resale platform as having a return policy or something that I could do in store. And I think that could be a real game changer.
Interesting. All right. Heather Newberger, thank you so much. It's good to see you on this Friday. Love your tips all the time. And hey, everyone, make sure you follow Heather on Instagram at Heather Newberger and pick up her book, How to Date Your Wardrobe. All right, we'll see you next week.